There's a moment when you want everything to change overnight. The dream is so big, so intoxicating, you can almost taste it. You see the prize, you imagine the applause, the freedom, the life on the other side. But then reality hits. You're stuck in the grind, the repetitions, the silence no one claps for, and it feels endless. Here's the truth. Most people quit right there. They quit because they're blinded by the prize and crushed by the process. What they never realize is that the prize was never the point. The power, the growth, the transformation, it's hidden in the days no one sees, in the effort no one celebrates. This is the story of why focusing on the process changes everything, and why the reward you're chasing is nothing compared to the person you'll become along the way. Let's start with step one, the illusion of the finish line. You've been told since you were a child that life is a series of races. Get the grades, get the job, get the house, win the trophy, reach the finish line, and everything will finally feel complete. And maybe you've carried that belief your whole life. Maybe right now, you're still running towards some finish line in your head, telling yourself, if I can just get there, then I'll be happy. Then I'll feel like I've made it. But let me ask you something. Have you ever actually crossed a finish line and felt what you thought you'd feel? You pushed through all the pain, all the sacrifice, all the sleepless nights. And for a moment, yes, there's a spark, a rush, a celebration, but it fades. And soon enough, a new race begins. Another target appears. Another finish line is painted in the distance, and the cycle repeats. That's the trap, the illusion. Believing that the prize will complete you. Believing that the end will finally silence the noise inside. But every finish line you chase eventually reveals itself as temporary. That's why so many people live in an endless loop of chasing more, achieving more, and yet feeling less. Let me tell you a story. There was a man who worked his entire life for one moment, a promotion he thought would change everything. He sacrificed time with his family, neglected his health, pushed away friendships. Finally, the day came. He got the promotion. Everyone clapped, congratulated him, raised a glass in his honor. But when the noise died down and the lights went out, he went home and sat alone in his kitchen. And in the silence, he realized the truth. Nothing inside him had changed. The title didn't heal the emptiness. The finish line gave him applause, but not peace. This is what happens when you make the prize the point. You can win the medal and still feel hollow. You can achieve the goal and still not know who you are. Because the finish line doesn't define you. The process does. The hours when no one is watching. The pain you endure to grow. The small, invisible steps that forge a different version of you. That's where fulfillment hides. Not in the applause, not in the recognition, but in who you become through the journey. When you understand this, something shifts. You stop running in circles, chasing one finish line after another, hoping the next one will finally save you. Instead, you start running with purpose. You learn to find meaning in the daily effort. You start valuing the struggle instead of avoiding it. And slowly, you realize the truth. The prize was never the goal. It was never the final destination. The real victory is becoming someone you once thought you could never be. That's the transformation. That's the only finish line that matters. Not the one painted on the ground, but the one inside you, where the person who started is no longer the same as the person who arrives. Here is the second step. Falling in love with the reps. Think about the last time you wanted change. Maybe you told yourself you'd finally get in shape. Start that project, build that business, break that bad habit. In the beginning, you were fueled by energy. You could see the vision in your head. You told yourself, this time, I won't stop. But then came the repetition, the early mornings that felt the same, the workouts that didn't show instant results, the writing sessions where nothing seemed good enough. And slowly, the fire started to fade. This is where most people quit. Not because the dream was too far away, but because the process felt too ordinary. The repetition wasn't glamorous. There were no cameras, no applause, no overnight transformation. Just you, repeating the same effort again and again. And in that silence, it felt pointless. But here's the truth. Progress hides in repetition. The breakthrough is buried in the boring. Every rep, every step, every small effort is a vote for the person you're becoming. The world may not see it, but inside you're building strength, resilience, patience. Every repetition lays a brick, and one day, without even realizing it, you've built a foundation that cannot be shaken. Let me tell you about a young boxer. He wasn't the strongest, he wasn't the fastest, But his coach made him throw the same punch every day for hours. Left jab, right cross. Left jab, right cross. The boy grew frustrated. He wanted to learn the flashy moves, the spinning hooks, the knockout punches. But his coach just shook his head. Day after day, the same repetitions. Months later, in his first real fight, the boy's opponent came charging. In panic, he fell back on instinct. Jab, cross, jab, cross. The fight ended in seconds. The repetition had built muscle memory, unshakable under pressure. What once felt boring became his greatest weapon. This is the lesson life is teaching you. The repetitions you dread are the very ones shaping you. The days you want to skip are the ones that matter most, because the process is not supposed to entertain you, it's supposed to transform you. It is in those unglamorous, unnoticed hours that you are becoming someone different. When you fall in love with the reps, you stop living for the finish line and start living for the work itself. You begin to see beauty in the grind, the small victories, the discipline to show up, the quiet pride of knowing you did what you said you'd do. That's where confidence is born. Not in a single moment of glory, but in the hundreds of invisible choices stacked behind it. One day, when you look back, you'll realize the reps were never just about the task. They were about shaping your mind, your spirit, your character. And by the time the prize finally arrives, you'll see that the real reward wasn't the trophy in your hands. It was the strength, the discipline, and the unshakable identity you built along the way. Let's dive into the last step. Discipline over motivation. There will be days when you wake up and feel nothing. No spark, no drive, just emptiness. You'll stare at the goals you set, the plans you made, and you'll whisper to yourself, I don't feel like it today. And that's the moment that decides everything. Because motivation, that rush of excitement, that wave of energy, it's not built to last. It's a spark in a storm. It lights up the sky for a second, and then it's gone. The truth is, motivation is emotional. It comes when things are new, when progress is visible, when everything feels possible. But what happens when the progress slows? When no one notices? When you're alone, repeating the same effort day after day, with no applause, no result, no reward? That's when the real test begins. Let me tell you something real. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you standing when the feeling disappears. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for the right mood or the right weather or the perfect conditions. Discipline is what you do after the motivation dies. Let me tell you a story. There was a runner training for his first marathon. For the first few weeks, he woke up every morning at dawn full of fire. The excitement pushed him out of bed. But soon, the mornings grew colder. The soreness lingered longer. The runs felt heavier. He started missing days. Then one day, he sat on the edge of his bed and asked himself, why am I doing this? And in that quiet moment, he realized he didn't need to feel like it. He just needed to do it. So the next morning, he ran again. Not because he wanted to, but because he said he would. And that single decision changed everything. The run didn't get easier. The pain didn't vanish. But he stopped negotiating with his feelings. He started training his mind to show up regardless. And slowly, he built something stronger than motivation. He built identity. That's what discipline is. Identity in motion. It's not a mood. It's who you are when no one's watching. It's the promise you refuse to break, even when it hurts. And once you taste that, once you realize you can keep going without feeling like it, you become unstoppable. Because feelings come and go, but character stays. Discipline is quiet. It doesn't post about itself. It doesn't need validation. It's in the man who goes to the gym when no one else shows up. It's in the woman who keeps writing when every word feels heavy. It's in the worker who gives their best even when no one says thank you. Discipline is not about intensity. It's about integrity. And here's the transformation. When you live with discipline long enough, something changes inside you. The things you once dreaded become your rhythm. The tasks you once ran from become your foundation. You stop chasing feelings and start trusting structure. You learn that success was never about how much fire you had in the beginning. It was about how long you could keep walking through the dark. So the next time you don't feel like it, good. That's your cue. That's the moment to show yourself who's really in control. Not your emotions, not your comfort. You, the disciplined you, the version that shows up anyway. Because in the end, it's not the person who starts with the most motivation who wins. It's the one who keeps showing up when the fire goes out. The one who doesn't wait to feel ready. The one who keeps moving forward simply because they decided they would. That's discipline. Cold, steady, unshakable. The quiet force that builds everything you ever dreamed of becoming.